Well, the online listing was wrong. Thunderbolts was not showing in 3D at the Airbus IMAX theater, which kind of sucks, but I guess that means I get to go watch it again. But in the meantime, I'm going to throw this review out there so it doesn't come out too late.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind?
Hello everyone and welcome back to Real Future Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the new MCU film Thunderbolts, a movie at first I was cautiously optimistic about, and I'm happy to say that it was as actually even better than I thought it was going to be. But basically what's going on here is you have this group of misfits, these, I guess, hired help by this woman named Val, who works for the CIA, and she uses them to do a lot of her dirty work and trying to cover up her little mistakes and sussy things that she's been doing. At a certain point, she decides that she has to completely obliterate all of them and sends them all to this bunker where they're supposed to be incinerated, but she has told each of them that they have a target that's trying to break into that bunker and steal something, and then of course they find out that this was all a trap and they were set to die. But they end up coming across this guy named Bob, who doesn't really know who he is or really can't remember any of his past, but he's got some demons in his closet, and really that's what this movie is about. It's about our personal demons, the things that really gnaw at us deep inside, depression and anxiety and manic depression and feeling lonely and isolated. And I gotta say, this movie completely knocked it out of the park. The last movie that came out for the MCU, which was Captain America: Brave New World, complete blah. You know, I did eventually watch it, not in theaters. I was like, man, this feels like 100 different movies going on all at once. I just do not care. But Thunderbolts was absolutely incredible. You have Florence Pugh coming back. You got David Harbour coming back as the Red Star. Bucky Barnes is here. You got, I think, John Walker is his name as the disgraced Captain America. And you even have Ghost, who I believe has not shown up in the MCU since Ant-Man 2, which is absolutely wild, but she does get some fun stuff to do here. Even though they're not like all super crazy, super powered characters, the movie does utilize their strengths in very interesting ways. These characters don't trust each other at the start because they've all been sent to kill each other, but as the movie goes on, they start to trust each other more. You really feel that teamwork. Like, this movie has a chemistry about it, not just with the main characters, but in general, that I really haven't felt in the MCU for quite some time. In fact, I'd say the last movie that came out that was like this good as far as the MCU is concerned is maybe Guardians 3. And I know that I really like Deadpool and Wolverine, and the 3D was very good on that and whatever. But like, this movie wanted to say something. It had something to say. It wasn't just like flashiness and over-the-top theatrics for the sake of it. It kind of felt grounded in a way, which is very strange to say about a big-budget superhero movie, but this movie just pulled everything together in a way that gelled and it worked. I mean, I was getting a little choked up at the end. There's a really, really nice moment between David Harbour and Florence Pugh, and Florence Pugh is talking about how she's been feeling alone and listless because, you know, her sister died, and that's been really weighing on her mind. And the guy that she was sent to kill, Hawkeye, actually had no bearing on that whatsoever. She's feeling lied to and rejected, and she's like, why didn't you reach out to me? And David Harbour's also got his own demons. It's all so good. And I think the ending of this works well too, because it's got like the big CGI set piece kind of like in a way, but it's not as bombastic as a lot of the MCU climaxes are. It really does end with a big group hug, and that's awesome. Some of the best climaxes for MCU films aren't the ones where characters just beat the other character into submission. They're the ones where they have to go about succeeding in a different or a clever way. Like, what comes to mind is Doctor Strange, where he doesn't punch Dormammu with his fists or use like his magic whips or whatever. He keeps him imprisoned in time forever, and that's what defeats Dormammu, because he gives up and he goes away. And this is kind of like that, where yeah, there is punching and a little bit of fighting involved, but it's more of an emotional thing and also metaphorical and so on and so forth. This movie does a great job at broaching the anxiety and depression, and also maybe a little bit of BPD, in a way that I really haven't seen another movie. Now, there are tons of movies, and I'm sure there are movies that do this in a wonderful way, and I know that Inside Out 2 also broaches anxiety, but this movie does it on a bit of a deeper level than I was expecting. Of course, the Void, who, you know, he's in the trailer, so not really a spoiler. Oh, I just hit my thing again. But of course, the Void represents like depression and like feeling like you're in the dark and isolation, but they take it to another level that I really wasn't expecting. I would say this is one of the better MCU movies because it really did feel like it had a purpose beyond setting up more stuff in the MCU, which of course it sets up the new Avengers. But it has a purpose in exploring, yeah, everyone's got their demons, and it is harder for some people to fight those demons than it is for others, which is stuff that I've said all the time, not on this channel, but in other places I've talked about this, and ways that you can pull yourself out of that scary, dark place. And you can't always do it alone. Sometimes you need help. And I just love this movie, and I am looking forward to seeing it again. When I do see it in 3D, I will make a quick 3D review update video. But for now, guys, Thunderbolts is absolutely the way to go. I am beyond shocked that this is the one that ended up being great, but I had a good feeling in my gut about it, and I'm happy that it was better than I could have ever expected it to be. It's just very strange how the MCU has just been so weirdly inconsistent. Like, Brave New World was like, what the hell is going on? And then you have this movie where it's like, it's such a clear vision and idea. It's like, what is happening, dude? This shit's crazy. Maybe Fantastic Four will be good. I really don't care about that movie all that much, but apparently Kevin Feige has put all of his eggs in that basket. We'll see how that pans out. But in the meantime, I will hopefully see you guys when I do the actual 3D review for Thunderbolts.